Hey there, Chubs listeners, and welcome to a wonderful, beautiful, special, absolutely perfect, non-canceled Chubs Gone Wild, episode number 385. Just 15 episodes until our big 400, where we can both say, finally, it's our weight.
Right.
Well, okay, if you divide, if you plus years and it all evens out. Anyway, today is March 8th, 2021. It is currently about 57 degrees and sunny outside the Chubs Gone Wild Remote Studios, although I hear we're supposed to have some rain today.
Tonight.
Oh, I'm looking forward to did you uh well obviously you probably did. The other day it seemed like beautiful skies and everything, and it was just a little windy. And then
Right.
all of a sudden, like the bedroom door blew open, and there was this huge gust of wind. And just a few minutes later, it just started pouring rain. It was like somebody pissed off a gay, because
Yeah. It was Friday night.
and it was nice. It was really nice. Of course, I didn't expect it, so I left all the stuff that I usually cover up in the rain, and it all got rained on.
Yeah, we got like a quarter of an inch of rain, and it only lasted like an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, now that you mention it, I had set a thing of drawers out there, a little plastic thing of drawers, and
Right.
part of it was open just a crack, and it's got about that much, like a whole bunch of water in it. That was pretty crazy. Anyway, it is 237-degree days
Wow.
until
Wow.
Halloween. Thank you. 292 days till Christmas, 9 days until St. Patrick's Day, and 27 days until Easter. So, are you doing your annual St. Patrick's Day feast?
No.
No.
Well, he doesn't. Yeah, okay. He doesn't like corned beef. So I make a beautiful corned beef that I have to eat all myself, which,
Wait. Where's the problem?
I just, because
Uh,
he brings home like 4 pounds of corned beef and then I have to eat it all. And what I'm
uh-huh,
saying
uh-huh.
is, that's great, except I don't want to eat corned beef for, a week.
Oh,
Although, my favorite way of eating corned beef
yeah.
is on an English muffin. I take a toasted English muffin,
Really?
but butter it, and then pile up corned beef thick, and then top it off with another buttered bun,
Uh-huh.
and that's it.
I like buttered buns.
It's so, I mean, buttered, yeah, English muffin, the
Yeah.
top of it, and it's so yummy. It's just
Uh,
so good. Because I like on my hot meats like pastrami, I don't want lettuce and tomato and
Same
onion, or
here.
I just want,
I don't need a salad on my hot food.
yeah, I want bun and I want meat, and then
Mhm.
either mayo, or in this case,
Yes.
when the pastrami's hot, the corned beef is hot, I like the butter. If it's cold, I
Mhm.
would do the mayonnaise.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I just and so and then everyone wants like the cabbage, and I like cabbage,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
That's
you
okay.
know, but he won't eat it because it's cabbage that's been floated in greasy corned beef water.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Right, I know. And then I don't really like boiled potatoes and carrots. I would rather do something else with them, which I could variate on the theme, but it's just like, just give me the booze.
Yeah. Well,
The
I mean,
booze and at least one cup green cupcake.
at least if you celebrate it, that's fine. Since I have found out that I have just as much Irish in me as I thought I did, I want to celebrate this year, but I doubt I'm going to. Although I would really like to have a good um,
Bowel
corn
movement.
corned beef. What were we just talking about?
Corned beef,
Yeah,
yeah.
corned beef. I would love to have a really good corned beef. I have not had one in years, but I could do without the cabbage and the potatoes and the other stuff. I mean, yeah, it's tradition and everything, but come on, I
Well,
can have that any day of the week.
I'll tell you, this is what I do with the corned beef.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of shredding it like most people do,
Uh-huh.
what I do is I take the corned beef when I cook it. When it's done, I put it in, I cool it, clean off the excess fat,
Yes.
and then I wrap it in saran wrap, or some sort of plastic wrap
Mm.
and refrigerate it.
Mm.
And so what it does is it doesn't really tighten it up like it makes it tough. It just keeps it in its, it's kind of like blanching.
Yeah.
It keeps it to where it's sliceable, and then you can have nice thin slices of it to pile high on bread. But that's why, I mean, I've been doing that for years, and it's perfect for sandwiches.
That sounds amazing. I really, I really want one. I wonder if I could convince who to get one this year and cook it.
And well, actually tell Clint to pick up one of the nice flat ones, but thick ones over at Costco. They've got really good prices.
Huh.
But this is something that I think we should shoot for, with after the pandemic's over,
Yeah,
is really having holidays again.
I agree with you. I would love to do that.
And I mean, by having holidays, I mean with other people. I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh yeah.
I've been having holidays without, other people.
Right.
But yeah, it's just like 4th of July, maybe go someplace with, where, well, I was going to say sit on a lawn somewhere and watch the fireworks, but I can't sit down on lawns anymore.
Yeah. You know what? I will say that's one thing that I really miss, because of being as heavy as I am. I miss being able to sit cross-legged on the floor, on my bed. Like I used to love to just sit cross-legged on my bed and write in my journal while watching a movie or something.
I know.
And I
I
can't
love that
do
when
that.
people go, "Oh, I just love sitting in bed and watching TV," and I'm like, "Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah,
That's
I
absolutely
can't.
the worst."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, but I agree with you. I completely agree with you. Also, I think we mentioned 27 days till Easter, which
No, we hadn't. We stopped at
oh,
St. Patrick's Day.
oh man, where's that? It's sneaking right up. I'm gonna have to get my bunny ears and my eggs and stuff going and wonder what yummy Easter things might be sent to us. Interesting. No pressure. No pressure.
You were just
All right. Hey, let's see. So today we celebrate some holidays, including Commonwealth Day, fun facts about names. Girls Right Now. I didn't know they didn't, although this is National Women's Month. So we
well,
do
it's
celebrate a
International
women.
Women's Day.
Well, it is International Women's Day.
Yes, I
Yeah.
just said.
Gotcha. Okay.
By the way, also for all those people who are celebrating St. Patrick's Day, now you can go to Disney Plus and watch Darby O'Gill and the Little People.
Wow, I haven't. That's one of the few movies that my father took me to see in the theater.
I wonder if the No-Mobile's on there too, because that's also a fun one.
Those would be very cool to see. I need to make sure that I watch those. Okay, this is inappropriate. It's International Women's Day, but it's also National Be Nasty Day.
Well, if you're Miss
That was
Jackson.
on purpose. Well, yeah. Okay, Miss Jackson. Also, peanut clusters and National Proofreading Day, which I hope some people are proofreading because I got a book that I need to get out and I need some people to be looking at it. I'm so needy. All right, next up here, what we got. So those are what we celebrate today, and today's affirmation is, the world is a work of art and so am I, which is very, very true. I am perhaps more of a surreal, an avant-garde, a classic. I am a true classic. All right. Patreon offers folks a way to support creators and receive rewards not open to the general public, like special podcasts, videos, books, and more. And we want to thank our current patrons, Clint, Nephi, Nick, DJ Stasa, Sponsor Univas, also Timothy, Eric, Juan Carlos, Brother Sinatus, Phoenix Dave, and Moose Dave. Please become a patron of the show for as little as $1 a month over at patreon.com/MattFilmagain. All right. We want to celebrate some birthdays because that's how we roll. And what we got coming up here? Wait, oh, there we go. Okay, so we want to celebrate Mike the Pooch. His birthday's coming up here. One of our infamous costume designers for our Hedwig, the production that we did. Also, we've got that Curtis. Curtis was a photographer for many of our productions. Anyway, all right. So we also got Christopher, Michael, Lenore, Greg, Tina. Oh, that's Sin from the Freak Network. We love her. Also, David, Yosim. I hope I pronounced that right for you. Also, Jose and Babalu. Babalu from Pod is my co-pilot. So, wait a minute. Okay. Here it is. Oh, and then we got, remember Loki from our shows? That sweet boy. So we had an actor who came to us, and he was the sweetest, twinkiest little muscly twink actor. And now he is a giant bear with a great big huge beard and tats all over, and he's all, look at me, I'm a bear. And it's just such an amazing difference, but absolutely adorable. Adorable man. All right, let's go ahead and what we got next coming up here. Oh, it's time for the feedback. We have two things in our feedback. First one is from Mr. Nephi, and he writes in and says, I found this kind of fascinating. Maybe you knew, but I did not know the term chubby chasers has been around for 50 plus years. Well, of course. As soon as Tom and I were born, they had to invent the term. Anyway, I thought it was relatively new. You and Tom might want to talk about this article on the show. Oh, maybe these are notes for behind the scenes, but let's see. He says, take a look back 51 years ago. This gay news rag had it all. Stories of gay bars being raided in NYC, a scathing review of Boys in the Band, wow, and an article on chubby chasers, an ad for their first naked play on Broadway, and lots of ads from those offering services and looking for love. Not much has changed, and yet everything has changed. Very interesting. So,
yeah, I remember the first time I heard of it was I was in San Francisco, and we weren't on the Castro, we were on the other gay area that they had back then. I can't remember the name of it. But I think it's like the Tenderloin area, but there was a street that they called, it was another gay area. And I remember we walked past a bar. We were across the street actually from the bar, and we were walking past it going in a different direction. And all these guys came out and started hooting and hollering, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what's that all about? And one of the guys goes, oh, that's a chubby chaser bar. Oh. And I'm like, what does that mean? And he goes, that means if you get close enough, they throw Milky Ways at you to lure you into the bar.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
I mean, and I got excited because I'm thinking, oh my God, there's a bar where like people who like this. Because in Sacramento we didn't have one of those.
Right.
So but then again, then I come back to Sacramento and we don't have the internet, so I don't know anything.
Right.
Yeah, so it was horrible. And I waited, and that's why when the Bears actually finally showed up, mm-hmm. It was like, oh, maybe this is what they meant all those years ago.
Right.
And it was truly a way of telling people that it was okay to be who you are. Yeah. It was okay, and it's okay to like people who aren't what you see on TV.
Yes. The first time I actually heard the term was on Cheers. there was a really hot woman that they all kind of wanted. And the woman was after the Phil.
No.
You remember the character Phil? No,
Oh,
it was actually after Phil.
okay.
Yeah. For a minute, I was like, wait a minute, maybe you're right. But no, it was after Phil, the older, chubby guy that was like kind of the butt of the joke. But anyway, she was after him. Nobody else could understand why. And then finally, someone said she's a chubby chaser. And that's the first time I had heard that. And I was like, what? Wait a minute. Are you telling me there are people that would actually like me? It was really weird.
Yeah, it's there was actually this one really funny movie that I can't remember. Damn it, I can't remember what it was, but it was there was a fat guy, and I want to say it's Kevin James, but I don't think it was. I think it was another fat guy, and he had this woman after him who liked him, girlfriend type thing,
Mhm.
and so they were sitting at a cafe, and then the girl got up and left, and the waitress goes, "Yeah, she's like mentally ill. She likes fat guys."
Wow.
Yeah, she's got problems. And I remember Brian, we saw the movie together, and Brian thought that was hilarious.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, um, well, I thought that was going to spark something, but it didn't. All right. But hey, so moving on, and then thank you very much for that, Nephi. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And then, hey, we have a voice number, don't we?
Yes.
What is it?
It's 1-800 408 Chubs.
I think that's a little off, but
No, it's what? Oh no, it's not 1-800. It's
and don't forget to give us a call at
for. Oh, that's right. It's 408 69 Chubs. That's it.
Yes, and we actually do have a couple calls, surprisingly, because nobody calls us. Everybody ignores us except for our wonderful Miss Kathy Bacon. However, I cannot get those calls into this episode, so we will be playing them next time at the start of the show so that we can worship her because she needs to be worshiped. And I'll tell you why in just a moment. All right. So thank you guys for that very much. And next up, we have Chub Hugs, and I want to send out a few. I'd like to send Chub Hugs out to J.E. Frone, who needs some support because he had some stuff happen at work, which I'll just leave it at that because I don't know how much you might want to get into. However, Chub Hugs out to him. And also, I would like to give some Chub Hugs out to Ms. Bacon, who sent Miney a get well card. Well, it was actually a happy birthday card, but it had a little gift in it because she knows that I hurt myself, and she heard on the last show, and she sent Miney a card, and it was very, very sweet, and I appreciate it.
I didn't even hear your knee problem. I must have been ignoring it.
Oh, well, after my great big tumble and fall in the backyard of
Oh yeah,
our house there,
you didn't tell me you got hurt.
yeah, well, I just thought I got a little scrape on my knee, but then like in the next day or two, it became this huge freaking owie. And it's been almost 2 weeks and it's still like kind of messed up. And it's not like a inside messed up. It's like literally it was a scrape that just kept like getting bigger.
Well, let me tell you a story.
Here we go.
A friend of mine.
Somebody is getting an amputation, like some stories do.
No.
Oh,
A friend of mine mentioned on Facebook that she had gone in and she was getting something done that she had done to one hand, but she was getting it done on the other hand, or she had it done on the other hand, probably carpal tunnel or something like that.
Okay.
And she said, well, the first time it healed so much faster. And the doctor said, well, you are much older than you were the last time you got it. And so to you, I say, yeah, the knee will take a little longer because you're 50.
Yeah. Well, you'd think that it like started out like as a little skin scrape. You know how when you scrape your knee, it's just like, okay, whatever. And then it turned into like this serious, like scabbed over big owie that like actually just to the touch hurts. So it was weird, but it felt much better after I got a healing card from our sweet friend, the space.
Sweet, sweet.
Yeah.
Kathy.
And also I would like to send a huge heartfelt chub hug out to all the people on my friends lists and social media lists who feel the need to publicly declare that they don't care about the royal family. Apparently, they needed more hugs when they were kids, but whatever.
I know, that's the whole thing about the royal family. It's like, you can care, you don't care, but as soon as you have to mention that you don't care, you care too much.
Yeah. I mean, I've seriously seen people on there who just go, I don't understand this. I hate this. And it's like, okay, I like follow. I mean, I know a lot about it. I like seeing the movies. I like seeing the shows. I like knowing this, that, and the other thing. But it's not like I'm sitting here going to go to battle over whether somebody likes or dislikes,
Yeah,
something like that.
But how'd you feel about what was said in the Oprah thing?
I have only seen bits and pieces. I haven't seen like the actual full interview yet. I thought it was pretty fucked up, but I'm not surprised. I don't understand why people are so surprised over this shit.
And honestly, I hate to be this guy, but who's surprised that somebody didn't ask that question?
Right. Yeah.
And because even in the Black culture, they talk about skin color.
Yeah, light and dark skin tones have been a big thing in the Black culture forever, I guess.
Yeah, I was surprised. I didn't realize it was as prevalent as it was, but I find that it's very much talked about, and actually, the lighter skinned you are, sometimes the less liked you are because you're more white than black.
Because you can pass easier, or you can.
I never realized it was a thing.
In fact, a person who is a friend of ours, very close here, and I think you know who I'm talking about. He is actually a mix of Latin and Black, and he had pressure from his own family to tell him that he could pass as Latin. So he needed to say that he was Latin and not Black so that he could basically be better treated and get more,
but and with not change the subject, but actually veering it off a little bit, we do the same thing in the gay community. He's too gay.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And there's a thing about passing also in the gay community.
Right.
And when you're a big fat queer, that because I always make the joke to Sean that he says, it's weird at work. I haven't talked anything about my life, but everyone knows I'm gay. And I go, well, you do have to talk to them, don't you?
Right.
And he's like, I don't talk like a girl. And I'm like, well, you just did. So I don't know. But we do the same. We do the same thing. So I guess it's not surprising.
I imagine every culture has something to do with that. Some thing. I mean, even in the Latin culture, it's like the gay thing. Okay, well, if you're gay or what, you want to just don't show it and still get married and still be butch and all that stuff, and just keep the other shit down low where we don't have to see it. And it's but yes, all the stuff that they said that I have seen so far is fucked up. And yes, it would be great if they didn't ask those questions or they didn't care about that shit. They just loved this child. It would be great. But let's face it, not only is that not something that's probably going to happen, but it's the royal family. everything they say, do, think, everything is judged. And they are going to,
Well, I just tell people,
the whole royal
watch The
culture in
Crown.
itself is
Watch The
really,
Crown.
yeah. Oh, guess who is going to be the queen next?
You mean Elizabeth?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so we've already gone through the first girl, and then it's Olivia Colman was
Who
the
I
second one.
absolutely fucking adore.
And who's the third one?
The third one is going to be Imelda Stanton.
Oh, okay.
So
I thought there was another one in there. I'm trying to. I'm probably wrong. I haven't watched that. I'm only on season 1.
yeah.
But
Okay.
But Sean. Well, just on that, Sean was watching it, going. He was confused when they're doing. It's like, well, why is Queen Elizabeth upset about being the queen? And it's like, well, because it's one thing when you're a sister or a brother or a child,
Yeah.
and you're really nowhere in line to get the crown.
I mean, it's hard enough doing that, but yeah.
Right. But then you're less judged. But once you are in line for the queen or the crown, your life it's full of pomp and circumstance, and you cannot vary from that.
Yeah, basically your life is not your own. You are now full-time in service.
Right. Well, and I remember the scene in the first season of The Crown where John Lithgow, who plays he's
Chamberlain?
No, he's shit. He's the prime minister.
Churchill.
Churchill. So he's talking. He goes in to see Queen Elizabeth for the first time as queen, and she goes, "Oh, come in, take a seat. Would you like some tea?" And he goes, "Okay, first of all, you never ask the prime minister to sit down. You make him stand up and do his little routine for you, and you never offer him fluids." And it's like, okay, see, and she's learning right away, and it's ridiculous. Why do you have those kind of ridiculous? But that's part of the game.
Yep.
So yeah, it's I as much as you always think, oh, I'd love to be royal, it's like not with all the shit that goes down with it.
Nope. You might want their money, but all the titles and everything that you have. No, I mean, no wonder Diana could not fucking cope.
You can't be gay. You can't be, you really can't be anything that's not a Windsor blood.
Right. And she did accept kind of distant relatives and kind of acknowledge their gay marriage and stuff like that, but they're like nowhere near like anywhere that would get to the crown. So
right. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. The bloodline to the crown is all important.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. I mean, the rumors that Harry was not Charles's son.
Yes.
Probably plays into that heavily as well, but I'm sure they don't talk about that in public.
And that's one of the things I thought too, is like, now since they had several kids, since Harry had several kids, and Harry obviously is not Harry, William is obviously Charles's, then it just kind of, you're kind of like, okay, well, he's not, we don't even have to worry about him and his kids anymore, so just they can go fuck off and do whatever.
Exactly. We're playing that right now with the Woody Allen Mia Farrow thing, and the son that does not look like Woody Allen.
Right. But I have to say though, the last couple times I've seen Harry, he actually does kind of have some traits from Charles that kind of made me wonder, well, maybe.
Well, yeah, I mean, who knows? An occasional ginger popping up happens all the time. Look at Modern Family.
Right. That way is kind of out of the blue there.
Yeah, but well, it's funny because my sister was a redhead because her real father was a redhead. So that always made the joke when my brother would say that I was my sister's son. because I had kind of like reddish brown hair that nobody else in the family had. So he's going, ah, see, that's it. It's because you're not mom's real son.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. So,
Have you noticed a lot of people making coconut cakes on Facebook right now?
well, no,
Oh
actually.
my God, they're gorgeous, and I want one.
Hmm.
Okay, that's it. I just want to share.
Okay. Mr. Larry Dean made a spice cake last night.
Those are always nice. What kind of frosting?
Homemade cream cheese. I had to like process it. Cream cheese.
Yeah, not
Very
a
good.
lot of people make cream cheese frosting anymore.
See, I really like it. I mean, I use buttercream for the most part when I make it, but
Sure.
I will, if it's something like a spice cake or a carrot cake or something like that, I will totally go for the
Cream cheese
what we
frosting.
just said. Yes, the cream
Yeah.
cheese frosting. I'll totally go for that, and it's so good.
Yeah, I remember my mom used to make cream cheese frosting. Well, she did, and I learned it. And then after I learned it, then because it's the same recipe as instead of there are two things of butter, you use the block of cream cheese. I mean, it's the same fucking recipe.
Right.
All you're doing is changing out your fat. Oh, wouldn't that be nice? I'm going to change up my fat.
I'll go for the smaller molecules this time. All right. Well, with that said, Tom wants to talk to you about.
Wait, I didn't talk about my chub hugs.
Oh, I'm sorry. So, did you have any chub hugs that you want to send out?
I do. I have one. I have this one friend who is he's going through a lot right now. Basically, his mother was in the hospital for a long time,
Yeah.
and so he had been basically trying to hold together the house that he didn't have to do completely before when his mother was still around, and now she's back, and there's other things that go to it, and it's very stressful. So I'm sending him out a chug hug.
Aw, thank you. Whoever it was.
Yeah, whoever that was. Now my week, let's pull that up. First of all, we did we harvested the girls, but then we had to clean and basically clean up the flower and get rid of the stems and the leaves and stuff. And so we ended up, but this was crazy. We ended up with 10.5 ounces of premium Gorilla Glue. And now think about 10.5 ounces is over a pound of half pound of weed, and weed's pretty light. So like most people go into the thing and one of the dispensaries, and they'll get like a fourth, and they'll be like, I'm really cleaning up with the weed, and this is a lot more than that. And so and it was like, because the strange thing was, remember I was telling you the plants were way different from each other. Not one plant looked like the other ones, yet the finished product looks the same, which is weird. But like one plant, we got 2 bags, and these are 2 of the gallon bags of flowers from, so it's the big Ziploc bags, not the sandwich, not the quart, the gallon size. So 2 off of one plant. We got 1 full one off another one, and then the other 2 filled up a 4th one. So I've got basically 4 gallons of weed. And so it was very exciting. And then we burned all the sticks, and the neighborhood, I'm sure, was happy for it, in the fireplace. So that was, and they were nice. They burned really nice, but we didn't go outside to see if it smelled like weed, but I bet it did. Okay, so there's that. And this is weird. All the plants that we were growing the seeds have been feminized so that they don't produce seeds, but they produce the good buds, basically, the good flower. Well, we've got a plant growing in one of the the um, planters.
Okay.
One of the 4 planters we had, there is a new pot plant coming up that has to have come from a seed, but we didn't find any seeds when we were taking the plants apart. So we're not sure what's going on. And they're not supposed to produce seeds. So
Right.
what is that plant doing there? Brian said it's probably going to be Audrey 2 or maybe Audrey 3. So be careful. But it came from nowhere. It's not in a position where it's indoors. So it's not like something got dropped down. You can tell by the leaf formation that it's a pot plant. So it's weird. I'm still growing. I still have the growing lights on to see what becomes of it and see if something forms. If maybe I'm going to get a free plant out of it, but it's just weird. So anyway, moving on. Okay, this week, watched Coming to America 2.
Oh yeah.
That's on Prime. It's the sequel to the Eddie Murphy Arsenio Hall film from that time period, I guess the 90s. And this is updated. He's now king, or he's going to be king because James Earl Jones is ready to die. And in the movie, he looks like he's ready to die, and it makes me very sad. But they brought back almost the entire cast that hadn't passed away, basically. And so that's kind of fun.
Watch that movie over and over and over.
Yeah, and so they've added basically what happens is they've added in that when he was in America, Arsenio Hall got him drunk or high, and he ended up having sex with Leslie Jones. And so Leslie Jones had his male child.
Wow.
So, and as a king, you want to have a male child, otherwise you're kind of a failure. That's why Henry VIII was always killing off the wives until he got a son.
Yeah.
So basically, that's the storyline. So he travels back to America to meet his son and change the everyone's lives because of it. So, but it was funny. It was entertaining. I was never a fan of the first one,
really?
but this was entertaining. It made me feel very nostalgic, and in a good way nostalgic. So I would definitely say if you were a fan of the first one, you're going to like this one. And even if you weren't a fan of the first one, you might still like this one.
Nice.
And it's just, this is a major motion picture, once again, premiering on streaming. And I'm excited about it because I'm tired of movie theaters, although I really want to go to one because I miss the popcorn.
Right.
And, but I don't miss the coughing and sneezing on me. There was too much of that.
Yeah.
So let's see. I did want to say that I started The Crown, as I mentioned earlier. We're in the first season. It's amazing how interesting it is.
Yes.
And it's slow, but it's deliberately slow because it's paced well. It's paced for a drama, and finding out how everything works is really interesting, and the plotting behind the scenes of these people, and I'm finding it all very interesting, and hopefully because I know that as it progresses, the Queen gets older, and we have so we go from the 50s, we'll probably go into the 60s, and then into the Princess Diana time period comes probably next, and so I'm really looking forward to it.
Actually, if you're on first, you won't get to Diana until the current season, so it's like
that's the 4th season. Okay.
Yeah. And another thing that I think I would say to watch for is not Narcissa. What's her name? The one who killed Sirius Black.
Who killed Sirius Black? Or no, that's right. Yeah, Helena
Bonham Carter. Okay.
Isn't she Princess Margaret?
Yes, and she is brilliant.
Well,
I like her, and I think she's brilliant and everything. But in this part, it's just like she brings so much to it. It's just It
Well,
really made me like
she's one of
Margaret.
she's one of the most underrated actresses.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree with that.
and because she's always good.
Yeah.
Even when she was miscast in Sweeney Todd, she was still good.
Hmm.
You know, and um, okay, you know how I never binge a show. I
Right.
mean, in the true sense of what binging is,
Yeah.
you know, just sitting and watching one episode after another until you're done with the whatever the season or the series.
Yeah.
But I did that this last week with Bonding season 2. Now, remember, Bonding is about the couple that are in the bondage New York scene.
I didn't know there was a season 2 of
It's a
that.
season 2. It's out, and because I knew Sean wasn't a big fan of season 1, so I went ahead and watched it because they're 17 minutes long each episode.
Right.
So I basically finished it in a couple hours, and so um, the new season is much better than the first season. But it started getting a little too dramatic for a comedy.
Okay, so like that's what I felt about the ending of season 1. It's like you have this wonderful light show, and then
Right.
all of a sudden you end it like that. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, it gets the second season gets heavier through most of it, and
Uh,
it's like, well, but it made it less of him, the main guy, just being trying to be funny all the time, and he really
okay,
wasn't funny. So it gave it more purpose, but and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, and it had a good ending. So
nice.
once you're through with it, so it felt more like you're watching a movie because I just ran through them. And they had some new they had some cameos of people who were more famous people, and it was interesting. But it's on Netflix right now. Just started a couple weeks ago. So if you haven't seen it, you go ahead and look for it.
Okay,
I'm still really enjoying Secrets of Sulphur Springs on Disney Plus,
okay,
which is about the kids, the family who moves back to the father's hometown of Sulphur Springs. But what happened? They're moving. He bought the old hotel that's supposedly haunted and has been closed down for nearly 30 years. And what happens is the son meets up with one of the girls in town who, and the town, of course, basically kind of fell apart, became very small town because everyone came for the sulfur springs. But so when they dried up and the hotel closed down, then there was not a whole lot of people coming in. But what happens is he meets up with this girl, and they find a portal to 30 years ago. So they're back trying to figure out what happened to the hotel and the missing girl and what happened 30 years ago that nobody wants to talk about. So it's kind of a mystery, but and I'm sure that it's meant for like junior high kids and low and younger, but I thoroughly am enjoying it. And even Sean's enjoying it too.
cool.
But it's like there's a new episode because they brought up the first 5 episodes the first week, and then they're piecemealing one episode after that. Kind of like when Wanda premiered and there were 2 episodes.
Right.
So people weren't going, ew, this is weird with just the first episode. Speaking of that, WandaVision had its finale, series finale, not season, series. It's done.
What? Oh, huh.
Yeah. And the last episode was very good. And it leaves you with well, first of all, you got to watch through the credits. There's like 3 different things throughout the credits. Teases. So you don't want to just turn it off after you see the closing. Okay. So there's a lot there. And it's like, well, this doesn't mean we're not going to see Wanda anymore. It just means WandaVision is over.
Well, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I get you. Okay.
So basically, it's what I love is Catherine Kahn, who plays Agnes the witch. she is, first of all, she's on every fucking meme anymore. It's crazy. She's got the meme where she's winking, like, and like one of them said, when your straight best friend tells you he's had over 10 sexual experiences, gay men think this. Okay, that's great. You're such a whore.
Yeah.
And so she's in all those, and I love it because now she's the it girl, and the woman's been around 20 years.
Nice.
Always improving every show she's in, but now she's the it girl. So I'm really appreciating that because I love her. I've always loved her. Let's see, still enjoying Clarice, which is the Silence of the Lambs show. And this week on RuPaul's Drag Race, they had Snatch Game, and I would say that this is my least favorite Snatch Game ever.
Huh.
And I had this argument with Brian on my other show, Swanner and Judd Review, and what happened was, I was saying that when you go, we found out that when you go on RuPaul's Drag Race, you find out you're a contestant, and you find out that you're going to need apple picking time outfit. You're going to need an outfit with feathers. You're going to need a patriotic outfit. You're going to be, because it's going to be the theme of the runway. So when they come there, they have all those great gowns. They're not sewing them themselves in the basement. They've already got this stuff with them. So because they know basically what the themes of all the shows are going to be. So you get thrown off the first week, you still have gowns for another 12 weeks.
Right.
Even though you're off the show. And it's not bad because you can still use them in your act. It's not like you're screwed, but you're screwed. And so we found that out. Well, that when you go on to, if you last long enough by 9 or 8 girls left, you're going to have Snatch Game. So you better have a character thought of that's going to be funny on Snatch Game. Right. And I can't believe all the girls that sit there and go, well, I was thinking I would do this. I think that might be funny. And it's like, why is that funny? Why are you doing, what character? Why do you not have a character? Right. I remember Jinx Monsoon had Little Edie, and she says, oh, I'm doing Little Edie. And everyone goes, oh, and only Rue knew who Little Edie was.
Yeah.
And everyone's going, oh, she's making a huge mistake. And then she tore it apart and ended up winning the season for it. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that she tore it up in Match Game. Match Game is the thing. I mean, you look at who did really well in Match Game in shows, and a lot of those people go on to win the crown.
Mm-hmm.
Even Bob the Drag Queen, remember his Carol Channing?
Yes.
And it's because he went in prepared. It's like Adam Lambert and David Cook on American Idol. They went in prepared to have a Disney song that they wanted to sing and a Motown song that they wanted to sing. And not only did they know which song they wanted, they had arrangements prepared for those different songs that made those songs their own. And that's why they went as far as they both did. Wow. Because they were prepared. And it's just smart. It's like you don't go on Survivor unless you learn how to fucking make a fire.
Mm-hmm.
How many of those people are sitting there picking their ass for 3 days going, I don't know how to make a fire. I didn't know you didn't know we were going to have a fire.
Right. Yeah.
It's stupid.
I didn't know it would be this hard.
Yeah.
Quit.
Yeah, that's right. How about when you go camping and you're always miserable? Imagine that on an island without a tent
and
without the food that you dragged in.
And it's like the people that bring like these huge bags full of clothing and items and stuff, and then they don't get them. It's like, you've seen this over and over and over. Come on, 40 seasons.
I know. So, other than that, did I mention my falls last week? I did have 2 nighttime falls.
You did not mention them.
I told you about them, but I didn't mention them on the show. And I'm not sure. I am finding that when I get up at night, or even in the morning, if I get up too fast, I'm a little lightheaded. So now I have to pause and wait. And part of One of them was I just completely missed the wall and went right into the closet.
Oh,
Well, we don't have doors on the closet, so
right.
so I just fell into the closet. Fortunately, we had our lawn furniture cushions in the closet, so I landed on those.
But my father actually has a thing, and my mom too. But the point with the father is that he gets like his blood pressure will just drop all of a sudden, and so he's actually on a medication so that his blood pressure won't do that, and that's one of the things that has caused some of his falls. I just
Great,
not
great, thank you.
comparing you. I'm just saying that
I know,
I understand what So that's scary though.
yeah, yeah, it is because well, actually, they say 80% of falls for seniors happen when they're on the way to the bathroom at night.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, not your dad, which his happened all day long,
Right.
but for the average senior, which I'm not a senior yet, by the way.
I know. I was gonna say that, but yeah, not
But
for a while.
well, it's funny. You hit 50, and all of a sudden, everyone considers you a senior.
True.
Yeah.
Very true.
And I did mention to you last week, but I didn't mention it on the show that Blanche Devereaux, her character was 51 years old when the show started. Well, actually, I can't say that. I don't know what her character's age was. I know that the actress was 51 years old when she started the Golden Girls, and so I figured they were probably playing close to the mark there with their age. I mean, even Betty White and B. Arthur were 62
Right.
when they started Golden Girls, and of course Estelle Getty was my age, so because she was a year younger than the two other women.
Yeah.
So it's weird, Gloria Swanson in Sunset Boulevard, her character was 50 years old,
Yeah.
and she was the old woman trying to have sex lure in that young writer, and it's like she's 50. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
She's the washed up movie star, and she's 50, but they made it look like she was 70.
Yeah.
And
And yeah.
so it's something that we're playing with age now, and it's weird. It's very weird how we looked at. I mean, okay, that's 1950 was when Sunset Boulevard came out. Golden Girls came out in the mid 80s. Nowadays, it's like the characters, I mean, they're 60, 70 years old, and they're not considered old anymore on TV.
Right.
I mean, Wendy Malick, she's got to be in her 60s, maybe even 70 years old, and she looks like she's 40.
Yeah.
And she plays grandmother characters, but she doesn't act like it.
Nope. No, that's one of the things I love about her.
So anyway, that's kind of my rant. Go ahead.
Okay.
What about your week?
Well, let's see. Starting with Mom's Home. We got the okay on Wednesday that she is at wound care 3 days a day. 3 days a day. 3 days every 3 days. So they released her. She got home on Saturday. I spent about 3 days completely cleaning and changing and rearranging her room and going through stuff to try to make it as open and friendly to
open access
to her needs as possible. I even got like a potty chair and everything, which she doesn't need. But she came home, and it's like you're talking to somebody and you're talking to their care team, and they're like, oh well, she's walking about 300 steps, and she's doing it, or about 300 feet, and she's doing, she's gone up a few steps, and you're talking to her, and she's all kind of groggy and stuff in the bed. And then she gets home, and you're like, she's pretty close to being fine. So
now is she in a wheelchair, or is she working with a walker?
We got her a walker that has wheels and a seat, those type of ones. So she uses that to get around the house. Sometimes she doesn't even need it, but she's doing it because she's being careful, which seniors and older people out there, if you are listening and you are going through things, use your fucking walker. That's all I'm saying. It would have helped my father quite a bit if he had done that. anyway, so she uses a walker. She's gone up and down the stairs. She really kind of has to concentrate, take her time a little bit for that. But most of the rest of the stuff in the house and the things that, and she's doing good. She's much more. She needs less care, less hands-on constant care than I thought she was going to. So, and of course, Kaya is absolutely so happy that her mommy's home. So she's readjusting to that. So it's good to have her back and going strong. And thank you for everybody that constantly was checking in on me and you know um, sending good vibes and texts and everything. I just really appreciate.
Chub hugs.
Yes, and the chub hugs. Appreciate all of that. And so now it's just going to kind of have to acclimate to the new normal. We do have nurses and maybe some physical therapy that are going to come in and work with her for like the next month or so, and then hopefully she'll be strong enough and everything to kind of just take what she, do what she needs to do, and who knows, a month or two from now, uh, pardon me, I need to cough, mute.
Well, you're going to be getting back to at least the new normal for you around the house.
Yeah. So that's the thing is figuring out what the new normal is going to be, and I think that like even in a couple months she might be back to driving and just doing her thing.
Oh my God, that's right. She's the only one that drives in the house.
Yeah, yeah. But she's already like wanting to like rush off and get a haircut and this and that, and I'm like, just could you just take a day or two to just let us all calm down, and then we'll go tackle the world. So anyway, and then my father actually is having a doctor's appointment today, and we'll probably talk about it on the next show. I don't know exactly what's going on, but it may be something serious. So anyway, moving on from there, I've been watching The Amazing Race, binge watching it. I am up to season 7, and the past at least 2 seasons, maybe 3, well, 3 seasons, but the last 2 seasons that I've watched particularly are mostly just miserable, abusive couples. I mean, I don't know when this became couples therapy, but they're
It's a horrible show.
disgusting.
It's a horrible show. That's why I don't watch it.
Well, and that's the thing is the thing I've watched later seasons and I've really enjoyed it, but watching this shit, it's like we're counting on The Amazing Race because we want to see our relationship is at a turning point and we want to see if we're going to be able to make it or not. And the people that are screeching and yelling, and I mean, the one guy was just shoving the girl all over the place, and I'm like, and y'all were bitching about the gay guys because they didn't want to work together with the other people, and now, but you're very happy with these guys that are just practically beating up their girlfriends. And then this one couple that they were wrestlers, and she just screeched and yelled and treated him like crap. And I was like, now I understand why so many people didn't want to watch this, and why so many people did.
But, well, the only thing I liked about the show, I mean, I kind of liked the stunts. They were kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they were, terrifying, but and I love seeing the scenery because Survivor and Amazing Race were some of the first television series to bring in the HD cameras. I'm not sure if they're probably 4K probably hasn't happened yet, but bringing in cameras that made exotic places look amazing. That's why Survivor was so much fun to watch, because it was like being on vacation. You got to see beautiful scenery, and the same thing with Amazing Race. Yeah. But unfortunately, they're just filled with assholes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and not only that, but this is the season where they brought. Is it this season?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think this is the season where they ended up they have Rob and Amber on.
Oh,
And I'm like, I just watched like 20 seasons of Survivor and had to put up with Rob and Amber. I don't know how many fucking seasons because they just kept bringing them back and bringing them back. And now we're like, oh, well, they're so popular. Let's add them to Amazing Race. I'm like, I cannot stand these.
well, you know who comes next?
Oh, do they actually bring on the little
The
board?
bitch, the redheaded bitch from Big Brother.
Oh, I remember her. Oh,
Yeah.
she was so
Ugh.
whiny. And you know what? I wasn't a huge Reagan Fox fan, but when he went off on her, I was actually like, you know what? She fucking deserves it. Oh,
Ugh.
anyway.
Yeah.
But I honestly am at a point now where I'm kind of like, it's kind of like Survivor. I got to a point where I'm like, okay, this is just, I'm fed up with this. It goes by the wayside. I'll get back to it at some point. I think Amazing Race, I'm gonna have to get back to it at some point because the people are just making me, when I'm yelling at the screen at the people from 15 years ago, maybe I should move on to watching something else.
Exactly.
Anyway, I also watched this movie from 2000 called Supernova that had Angela Bassett, James Spader, and Robert Forster in it. It's a science fiction suspense. It also has the Doctor from the new Star Wars, Star Wars. Hello, the new Star Trek, not Picard, but the other one. It just will not come to me. I cannot remember the name of it. What is it?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking.
The new the one that's on CBS.
Discovery.
Yes, he is the doctor on Discovery. Beautiful, wonderful Latinx man who just I've loved his work for a long time. Maybe he was in Rent too. I don't know. Anyway, point not the blonde. Anyway, a lot of sex, a lot of nudity, um, but some pointless film. Angela Bassett and James Spader. I mean, the whole cast saved the film because it had no fucking plot. Oh, and also, what's his name from La Bamba? Do you remember?
Lou Diamond Phillips.
Yes, he was in it, and he was in really good shape, and he was naked through part of it too.
You're talking Wilson Cruz.
Yes, that's him. Thank you. Um, but the cast was brilliant, and they had amazing performances, and that's the only thing that I can say about this because other than that, it was just a big piece of steamy poo.
Well, when I'll tell you something, you need to be careful when you send to me a thing that says supernova. I can't remember. You were making discouraging things
Yeah.
about supernova, and I'm like, oh, that's really sad. I was hoping that new movie with Stanley Tucci was good, and somehow you had seen it, online or something, and it's like, no, that's not what you were talking about.
No,
There's
no.
movies with different titles. I think
Yes.
the same titles.
Yeah.
There's things like that. So you have to go that Angela Bassett movie, Supernova, and I'm going to be going, oh, he must be talking about the one from the 2000.
Yeah. I didn't even know if I figured you'd probably know which one it was, but no. Yeah. All right. I also got nostalgic and watched Solar Babies from 1986. I had watched this movie a lot when it came out on video, of course.
Okay, my favorite part is when the
Yeah.
kid could hear again and he goes, "Ee, ee," and I'm like, I remember sitting in the theater going, if he doesn't shut up, I'm going to have to kill him.
The whole thing, and I watched it, and I've seen this like probably 5, 6 times, back when it was on video. But I really sat there this time watching it going, there is no damn plot.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, there's no water in the world, but it's all behind a dam. How the hell did they get an ocean behind the dam? Then this thing from outer space drops down, and it's a ball, and they all play sports, but they don't. And then there's
Look, it had Jason
Indian.
Patrick in it, and he's gorgeous.
Yeah, and that's the. But it was still fun. I still thought it was a fun film, but I just did not realize how there was just no plot. So
Well, I'll tell you, I'm super happy that I wasn't a critic at the time that it came out and wrote a really good review on it, because I liked it too. But it's
yeah,
kind of garbage. It's kind of a garbage film.
it really is.
But there's,
You know,
it was right after Lost Boys, and I was still in my Jason Patrick,
yeah, he
hangover.
is beautiful.
Yeah, and so that was the thing. Yeah, but it was, all the boys were cute,
Yeah,
and I was still young, so I wasn't, gross.
right.
And yeah, and but it was dumb. It was just totally dumb.
Yep. In fact, I had one of our listeners who messaged me at the time, and I said, "Well, I'm going to watch Solar Babies." He goes, "Well, I hope it stands up as well." And I said, I kind of hope it doesn't, but that might make it more fun."
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm surprised that the one podcast that watches old movies, what's their podcast? You
Oh,
were
Matt named Minutia.
probably you were on the show once
Yeah,
talking about something.
Matt
Yeah,
named Minutia.
yeah. That seems to be something that they should watch.
I think that would be really good. I would suggest it to them, but they never listened to me. I still wanted them to do V, but anyway, and then I've started to watch As Time Goes By. Now you said you never watched this.
I don't think so.
Okay, so it's a British comedy, um, but it stars Judi Dench and Jeffrey Palmer, and I watched it a long time ago. It's basically the whole story, the whole nutshell premise is that when they were during Korean War time, and she was a nurse, he was a soldier. They fell in love. They did their dirties, and they basically then he went away, and while he went away, um, he wrote her, but the letter she never got the letter. So then she never they lost track. They went their separate ways. They had their lives. She got married. She had a kid. Um, Started a job. She's a professional, and then uh, her husband died. He had a wife. He lived in Kenya, and now he's divorced and writing a book. And they end up coming back together and meeting up by accident, and now they've rekindled their relationship. So when I watched this when I was in my, like, say, late 20s, early 30s, I thought it was really great. I thought, that's a fun show. I like it. And I kind of wondered, but I never wanted to go back and watch it. But I kind of wondered, how would I look at this older couple, quote unquote, because they're like late 50s, I think, starting, how would I look at it now? And I will tell you that age really does give you perspective, because now, being older and watching it, I understand. I really get it. I identify with it, and it's just it's such a really well done series. Um, so it reminded me of, like, years ago,
Three letters to
around the time I was 40, and I told this younger person, well, you'll understand when you're older. And I felt stupid saying that, because I always hated when people said that shit to me. But I realized it there are some things you just have to live life, and one day you'll get it, to whereas if you try to explain it to somebody, it's just gonna they won't understand. So anyway, would you ask?
Oh, no. That's just go ahead.
Okay.
It sounded like Letters to Three Wives, but which was all these letters got sent, and each of them had something different to say, but the letters were lost, and ultimately the letters get found, and so That's kind of how it sounded.
Yeah, no, this I don't, at least unless they do it toward the end of the series itself.
So
The
it's a
the
series.
weapons just
It's not a show. I mean, it's not a movie.
no, this is like a series that actually ran over I don't know how many years, like at least like 7, 8 years or something.
Wow.
Yeah, and there's like, it's standard 6, 7 shows per season. I don't know if they jumped any years or not, but I mean, you've got Judi Dench, who is just absolutely fucking brilliant in everything she does, including this. And she does comedy so fucking well. And it's not a high comedy show either. It's kind of that, you know, kind of British humor comedy. Um, anyway, if you're interested,
67 episodes. It ran 13 years.
Wow.
But that means
Yeah.
I don't know if that. Well, let me look and
I'm
see.
sure they jumped a few years.
Well, it ran 10 seasons.
Wow. And it's worth it. It's so worth it. And it's just anyway, but it is one of those things that I'm enjoying it so much now that I'm older, that when I was younger, there were things I just did not get.
Right.
So, and there's Call Me Cat, which I have not watched. There's a new episode out. I'll get to it. I hope it's as good as the last couple. I watched a vlog that Maya Bialik did on the show, and it was just a really sweet thing. So we'll see. So Tom is holding up one of his huge, gigantic.
This was the biggest bud.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at next to my hand, they're even to my hand.
Yeah.
It's like 4 inches long.
Oh.
And I broke off some of the bottom portion. It went about 6 inches originally.
Yeah.
But it's the solid, because my stuff usually didn't come out. They were kind of loose buds. This one's huge, and I almost don't want to break it down because it looks like a little Christmas tree.
You have to
like if I had mice,
yeah,
like, they would use this as a Christmas tree.
But
I wanted to show you that, and this is the size of the bag I'm talking about.
Wow, that is gigantic. So if anybody out there wants to do visuals, we do have a video of this over on YouTube. So you can just look up Chubs Gone Wild, and wow, that's a big bag.
Yeah, and there's 4 of them. Oh, I'm gonna be high. I mean,
now is this the stuff that relaxes you?
Yeah. And I do have some blunts that you were requesting.
Oh,
but it's just we never see each other.
I know.
But once we do, I'll show you how you need to smoke it.
Make sure my roach isn't. What does Sappy say? And you're losing your roach.
These aren't like joints.
Okay.
These are more like, remember cigarillos, or cigars.
Oh, yeah.
The smaller cigars. They're more that size.
Okay. Wow.
So it's going to be one of those where you're smoking it, take a puff, and then the best thing to do is to get a shot glass and put sand in it, some loose sand.
Okay.
And then you take the shot and then you put it in the sand so it blocks it, it stops it from.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. And then because with you're going to want to do one shot, one puff, and then you're going to put it out, and then you're going to cough a lot.
Yes, that sounds like me.
Until you get used to it. Yeah. I even cough, so it happens. But the whole thing is making sure that before you start coughing, puff out, and then you'll be stoned.
Nice. Yeah. Hey, you know what? If it gives me a calming effect, I need that more nowadays. So.
Oh yeah, this kind of stuff. It reminds me of the commercial where the girl's sitting on the couch, and then all of a sudden she becomes the couch.
Mm-hmm.
And and it's funny because everyone's like, "Do you really want to live your life that way?" And it's like, no, but when I'm home watching TV and I don't want to be thinking about the stress of the world, the stress of my life, and I just want to calm down, relax, and watch TV, I want to be the couch.
Right. Yeah, and you need that. You need that time off. That's why I'm willing to give it a shot.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Another thing that we need to give a shot to is Fat Marker, who wants us to be loud, be proud, be too much, and to be, well, us. Fat Marker Clothing wants those of us who've been told that we are too much of something to turn those negatives into positives. And Chubb's Gone Wild listeners, you can do that by using the code FMWildChub to get 20% off anything while ordering over at fatmarkerclothing.com. All right, well, it's time for advice. And somebody wrote, Dear Foodie, and said, I'm a freelance web developer who has almost bankrupted, who was almost bankrupted by the economic collapse. A few years ago, a client referred me to a friend who needed some search engine optimization. The friend operates an adult website. Adult websites make a lot of money, but have trouble finding honest, competent help. One job turned into another, and working with adult websites has become a thriving business for me. My problem is nobody knows what I do. My wife thinks that I design websites for local
Companies.
Is that what it said? Oh, there we go. Companies. I don't work with websites that do anything illegal or that produce desperation porn. Okay, that's even a new one on me. My clients are high-end softcore sites, so that makes me so much better than
Think of it like fan only.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm getting to the point where I can't hide this anymore. I'm going to get a prestigious industry award, which means that the internet search of my name will reveal the nature of my business. I also have had to hide profits in a secret mutual fund. Well, thank you for telling us, because I don't want my wife, I don't think my wife would believe that I make that much from designing websites for florists. I've wanted to walk away for a while, but the money has gotten us a lifestyle that we've struggled to have for years. My wife doesn't have to work anymore. Our house is paid off. We have college funds for the kids. I feel like I'm stuck between disappointing my family by turning off the money pump or having them find out that I work in the adult entertainment industry. Oh, I need advice. Signed, Dirty Bitch. Oh, please. Take your money. Be happy.
Shut
Not
up.
doing anything wrong. It's not horrible. Stop being shamed and just.
Well, no, he's not being shamed. He's shaming himself.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean.
And the problem here is that people have got to stop judging it, industries like the adult industry.
Right.
It is what it is. I understand if it's not your thing, that's great. But if somebody's making a living from it, and somebody's found, that they're something, it's not like he's naked or does anything other than makes it easy for people to put up pictures and videos.
Well, and I mean, even
so he's still a web designer. He's
Yeah.
not a pornographic web designer.
Right.
He is a web designer who may do pornographic web pages, but so what? I mean, the GOP doesn't seem to have a problem doing what they do, and I find that much more offensive than adult entertainment.
Well, and he's, adult industry, they're honest, well, to a point. But I mean, even the way he says, oh, my clients are high-end softcore sites, it's like, who cares? Who cares if you're getting fist, if you're doing websites of people fisting each other? It's legitimate work. I hate when people not only shame other people for doing sex work, but when they shame themselves. Just anyway.
And the thing is,
take the money.
Yeah, and let's see, the house is paid off, the kids can go to college, we're living in this great lifestyle. Ask the wife if she wants to go back to work.
Right, exactly.
But this, I do understand this. I understand you know, because I remember I've known quite a few people who have gone into do things in the adult industry. And
Yep.
let's face it, when you do that, you are, and if you can be, you know, if you're remembered for it, or if you can be searched for that,
Mhm.
it's not a good thing. You know, a lot of industries won't let you go, but he's an independent web designer.
Right.
You know, he should not have any problem with this. I mean, maybe the Shakey's Pizza down the street might not want him to do it because of what he does the other ones, but I don't think he needs to go and do Shakey's Pizza's website.
Yeah.
So get over it, make the money, you know, make enough money that you can retire.
Right. Make so much money that you don't have to work in at all. But,
Yeah, and, you know, but there's nothing wrong with doing this. This
yeah.
is, you know, especially, you know, I would say the same thing if he was actually in the porn industry. There's, I
Yep.
mean, we have a friend and an actor we used to work with who is in the adult entertainment industry
Mhm.
as a performer,
Right.
and I cheer him on. He's made a career out of being nasty, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, believe me, if I could have figured out a way to make a lot of money and do less work, or at least do work in an industry that I really loved,
Mhm.
I would be all over that. And you know, I don't think the family might be a little, you know, stiff, you know, a little nose up about it, but you know,
Yes.
uh,
Yep.
until they see that you've got all your bills paid and
Mhm.
and they need money, and then maybe they'll probably call you because now they know you've got a lot of money.
Right. Yeah, it's the same when I do, I mean, when our friend and I do the other podcast.
Right.
At first, we were very adamant about keeping it on the DL because he worked at a job where that may not have gone over very well,
Right.
you know. And as for me, I mean, hell, I designed. Oh, there we go.
Kleenex were on the other side.
I mean, I designed, you know, the adult magazines for the friend that you and I, you know, mutually had. Um, so it's just like for me, it was not a big deal. I'm just like I've always kind of felt, you know what, I'm doing what I'm doing. I don't have an issue with it, but for other people there may be. So I'll be discreet for them, but I never think that they should be ashamed of it.
Right.
Anyway, enough about that. Here's what Dear Pretty had said. I did not watch Breaking Bad, so I don't know if Walter White had your dilemma of receiving an award from the crystal meth manufacturers of America. I don't know where that went. Okay. Your immediate problem is easy to solve. You thank the heads of your industry for their generous recognition, then you inform them that for personal reasons you must decline the award and ask that your name be deleted from the event. Alternatively, you could say to your wife, "Hi, and I'm being honored by a big industry award ceremony, and I want you to come." Is that appropriate? Uh, then the evening would be revelatory, shall we say, for her, and you two could have plenty of talk about plenty to talk about during the car ride home. This is the first I've heard of desperation porn. Yeah, I've never heard of that before. The plot of which revolves around the usually female, often clothed star's ultimately unsuccessful struggle to find a place to pee. I'd never heard of this before. Anyway, I don't I don't understand your scruples about this harmless sounding genre, and if others want to make beautiful urination movies, let them get showered with money. As for what you do for a living, I don't see that it's wrong for someone to be wrong or something to be ashamed of. You're helping provide a service for millions, for which millions are grateful. The only true red flag in your letter is you're hiding your profits from your wife. If you file a joint tax return and you aren't declaring some of your income, that sounds more compromising than your word. Maybe your wife is like Carmela Soprano. Okay. She knows but doesn't want to know. Surely she realizes that the economy has not rebounded so dramatically that you've funded your kids' college educations by showcasing the local florist's special, oh dear, on clitoria. Uh, I think you should open up and tell your wife before she insists you quit. Let her know that means she will have to return to her job and you'll all be eating spaghetti for dinner for the foreseeable future. The kids only really need to know that dad makes his living as a web designer, which is true, just as Tony Soprano really was in waste management. Regardless, your letter has done just a great service for struggling freelance web developers everywhere. I expect your competition to heat up. Okay, so she's somehow trying to tell him not to be ashamed of what he does while referencing the mob and meth makers and whatever the other thing was. So
Well,
that seems
just
odd.
hide it. Yeah, in your tax evasions. First of all, he says it was a secret mutual fund. So he has a mutual fund that he just doesn't tell his wife what it's based on. So
Yeah,
that is getting covered in his taxes.
right. Yeah. So
I mean, you don't have a mutual fund without it being reported. So
I just think I think that he's making a huge, I mean, unless like his wife is seriously like the head of the church choir and for, the Presbyterian White Supremacist Fund or something. I mean, I'm like, I think he's making a huge deal out of nothing. But
yeah, I do too. I do too.
yeah,
And we also don't know his age. And I think that
that's
might.
true. But
Now,
if
it
he's,
says the kids are before college, but that doesn't mean they didn't start having kids at 30. So he could be in his 40s and he's kind of thinking,
right, but
where am I going to go with
if
this?
he's got that kind of mad skills, I mean, he's got to have some education behind him. So I don't know.
Well, yeah, and he still is going to be able. I mean, he may not be able to do Shakey's website because they don't like what he does, but that doesn't mean he doesn't go with the next adult
Right, but
entertainment thing.
if he is that's true. But if he is that good that he's working on, I mean, those sites are intensive work. Intensive?
Oh, I
Is
know.
that a word? Or I mean, you got to really be on your game to know that. Then he's got to have other clients, the little florists and shit like that. So why, if your sites are equally as good for your local stuff, why just don't show them the other work? I don't get it. Calm down. Maybe go watch a movie. Ah, sorry. Hey, Chubb, Scotty Mac wants to know Casey Kasem or Dick Clark.
Um, you know, probably for me it was Casey Kasem
Yeah.
because I listened to American Top 40 every week when I was a kid,
Mm.
every weekend, and he offered trivia and stuff like that where Dick Clark was just introducing acts on American Bandstand
Mm.
at that point in time. I
Right.
mean, when we're comparing with music to music, and granted, Dick Clark was great, but Casey Kasem, he was kind of like, how can I put this? There
A
are certain
killer.
people. Well, he was news. He gave me news I was interested in finding out,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that makes a big difference when you're some. It's like Rachel Maddow.
Yeah.
I go to Rachel Maddow to find out what the real story is. And by the way, did you hear that Rachel Maddow's show was the #1 show on cable in January and February? Now that's
Oh,
cable. That's not
wow.
cable news. That's cable.
Hmm.
All of
That's pretty
cable.
cool.
That is. I mean, granted, all of cable
Mm.
that's not paid cable like HBO.
Right.
But yeah, so yeah, so I just thought I'd share that. But that's what I like.
Cool.
I'm a information guy. I like finding out pop culture shit.
Mm-hmm.
I like being informed. I like knowing that what shows are doing well and what movies have this and what music is that.
Yeah.
So Casey Kasem always gave me that.
It's kind of weird because I mean this is kind of a hard choice for me, but I think I would probably have to go with that too, because I would have rather listened to the top 40 on Sunday mornings on radio, with Casey, than a top 10 countdown with Dick on TV. But I really did like Dick Clark and all his appearances in New Year's and all that other stuff.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, Dick Clark is a legend, and he's actually made more money than Casey Kasem did, and he was more famous than Casey Kasem was. But at that time period, Casey Kasem was my go-to guy for information.
Yeah.
So, and
And,
he did Shaggy's voice.
yes, and he had a fun wife too, Miss Jean Casey, remember?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially on Cheers, and she talked like this all the time. So I just love characters like that. All right, hey Chubbs, do you like kung fu movies?
As a whole, I'm not a big fan of like the whole kung fu storyline. I like
Mhm.
the kung fu fighting. I like the choreography. I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
And when it's in, when it's in a Quentin Tarantino movie, I can't get enough of it.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but but the for me, my brother was heavily into martial arts when he
Hmm.
was a kid, which meant that I was the piece of
Punching
wood
bag.
that you need to break with your hand.
Yeah.
And so I kind of grew not to like those movies, although I do have a warm place in my heart for those movies.
Yeah. It's same actually. I remember watching a lot of them on as a kid on, you know, reruns and TV and stuff like that. And obviously Jackie Chan and
Bruce
Bruce
Lee.
Lee, uh, you know, total idols for me. I mean, not that idols probably the wrong word, but love them, love their
Yeah,
work. But it's not something that I would purposely go seek out, I guess. So maybe
yeah,
Kung Fu Hustle.
uh, yeah. There's a movie called Kung Fu Hustle,
Uh
which
huh.
is a film from back probably about 20 years ago now.
Yeah.
Um, that is one of my favorite movies of
Hmm.
the last couple decades. I
Yeah,
love
it's
it,
really good.
and it's because kung fu movies were at their best when they were funny. Well,
Yeah.
when they were campy,
Yeah.
and that's why like the Karate Kid, like the new TV series,
Hmm.
and even the movies themselves, they were always too serious. They were always too serious.
Yeah.
And let's face it, if you didn't have, the Pat Morita on that, the Karate Kid movies would have been shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, so
Um,
yeah,
it's funny.
the masters are always really good. Like you go back to Kill Bill when she goes to the learn from the master, fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Even though it's dramatic, it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Um,
warm place in my heart, but I don't really seek them out.
it's funny. Kung Fu Hustle. There, when that one female character, they were trying to match up the things, and she'd just go wee 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 wee, and I that stuck with me for such a long time. I used to actually make that noise to Audrey, my dog, back then, and she would react to it. Um,
I love the lady who owns the apartments. How she's always in curlers, a house robe, and smoking a cigarette.
yes.
There's always a cigarette hanging out of her mouth. It's hilarious.
Uh,
But
all right.
anyway, we got to move on because Moose P has lots of pictures this week.
Yes. So what's in your lunchbox? Well, Mr. Moose wrote in and said, "Hey, stopped by a bakery after the gym today. Bought a slice of carrot cake. So moist.
It looks moist.
Cream cheese frosting was perfect, and they added a caramel swirl as a touch of fancy, and it
Mhm.
looks beautiful." Then we got, don't know if I sent these to you, smoked pork ribs with a sweet barbecue sauce, homemade beef, and bean burrito.
Oh, that's the next thing.
Yeah. Now I really want like barbecue now.
Well, look at the fries. I want to
Yeah.
dredge those fries across the barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
And those the
Puppies.
hush puppies look good. Um, it's interesting because I never really liked the hush puppies from Long John Silver's,
Yeah.
which is the only way we get hush puppies in the West Coast.
Yes.
And those look like they might be more yummier
I would like to try them. Yeah.
because they're more like baby carrots. You know, they're longer. They're going to be more crispy. And I'm thinking they've got to have more flavor than those fucking balls did from Long John Silver.
Well, yeah.
Honey used to like them because I would throw them to her,
Right.
and she would eat them. But she liked, bread.
I always wanted to like them because I'm like, here's a little ball of fried dough. How could I not like this? But it was always just this big, blobby, tasteless grease ball.
It didn't taste like anything.
No. And I wanted to like them very, very much. All right, next up we've got ordered from Grubhub. Started with salad and a balsamic vinaigrette.
Right.
Entree was kickin' shrimp, blackened shrimp on top of pasta. Sauce was a wine-infused Alfredo with fresh Parmesan, bits of asparagus, and lots of chopped clams. Delicious.
I want to climb through that picture.
Which one?
The shrimp with the and it because what basically for those of you that aren't going to go to Chubs Gone Wild on Facebook to see the picture, it's of these blackened shrimp on top of what looks like a really creamy macaroni and cheese, but it's actually Alfredo, which is pretty much macaroni and cheese, and it looks fantastic. It looks fantastic.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Those are the submissions for Lunchbox.
Wow.
This time.
Thank you,
Mr. Moose.
Oh my God.
All right.
And I like the fact that he's now always mentioning, I bought this. We went out and got this. It's like, it was a question. My God. Okay.
All right. From our sponsor. Currently, LGBTQ people of color in America have a disproportionately high rate of HIV infections. Golden Rule Services of Sacramento, along with the HIV Community Planning Council, want you to know about an important tool in preventing you from contracting HIV. Pre-exposure prophylaxis, aka PrEP, is a medication proven to be 99% effective when preventing HIV infection. To learn more about PrEP, call your local sexual health clinic. If you're in Sacramento County, California, contact Golden Rule Services at sacgrs.org and get started on protecting your sexual health. All right, current topics. White House warns states that their anti-transgender bills are illegal. Not only is this the law of the land, it's his own deeply held view. I guess they said that of Biden. So, Next story. Mike Pence is narrating a Fox News documentary glorifying Rush Limbaugh. If you thought the former VP was looking to abandon conservatism, you've got another thing coming.
Who thought that?
I don't know. You think when a bunch of people go to hang you, but no. I never thought that he would swerve away from denying his homosexuality and.
Oh my God! Stop right now. Just read the next one.
Allegedly. Anyway, all right. An activist places billboards around Atlanta, telling people Black trans lives matter. Alex Santiago says, "I just feel like nobody cares about violence against Black trans people in his own city." So he's out to address that. Kudos to him.
Well, I'll tell you what has to happen, and it's happening already because of people like, Ryan Murphy and Netflix and many different entities, and I can't name them all, but they're putting trans people onto either trans people themselves or actors representing trans people onto film and television because, let's face it, until we saw Billy Crystal as a gay character.
Mhm.
After that, it got easier. Well, actually, it got worse because of AIDS, but it got easier for the acceptance of gay people. And after Billy Crystal, and then after Billy Crystal, it was, they had they had other actors that showed up, and it's like, okay, it got easier for people to accept, overall general population to accept.
Yeah.
And the same things has to happen with trans people. Now it just sounds like the boogeyman to a lot of people who don't know. They don't know any trans people. They don't know. They don't believe it. They think it's freakish, and they've got to get over that. And the way they get over it is by seeing it on television.
Yeah, absolutely.
And TV more than movies. I'm sorry.
Yes.
TV has always been there to do what was right before movies ever. I remember, this is an example of when movies actually got there before television did, and that was when the movie Chef came out, about the guy who got his food truck together and also he became a big chef, and highlighted the food truck industry before TV figured it out yet. And that's the only, otherwise television has always been there on the AIDS crisis, on women's issues, on everything. They are there first and foremost.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so hey, send us an email at chubsgonewild@gmail.com, and we'll leave us a comment at chubsgonewild.com. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/chubsgonewild. Please consider becoming a patron of the show, please. Over at patreon.com/MattBurlingame. Find Tom's movie and TV reviews over at swannerandjudd.com for the podcast, the written word. Find them in iTunes, iHeartRadio. Okay. Also, find out more about my books over at justkisstheguy.com, and check out my other podcast, biggaysexshow.com. And give us a call at
408-69-CHUBS.
Oh, nice.
And by the way, Big Gay Sex Show on Twitter. Best Twitter
porn
adult entertainment site. It really is. Once I started looking at that one, I thought, are there other ones? Let me look around, and they're not as good.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's a really interesting combination of people that they have on there, and most of them are really good looking.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you just want nice looking men, you'll find it there. And most of them have their wiener out.
Yes.
If they have wieners.
Yes, and some men have penises and some men do not, but they're still beautiful men. And some people's men are just stepping style. Anyway, it's a whole rainbow. But thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. All right, with that, we will catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.